Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for dropping into today's live. I have really, really good content for you all. We're going to be talking about probably everyone's favorite topic, and that is building wealth, and we're talking about money. Now, I know this may seem a bit different just because I am a career and leadership coach, executive coach, and I normally stay in my lane. However, I've been noticing that there's been a huge intersection between your career as well as your ability to build wealth. And I think that I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't talk about how you can leverage your 9 to 5 in order to build the type of legacy and wealth that you desire. So if you are joining in, please drop in the chat where you are joining in from. Also, do not be stingy. Share this live with at least 3 people, okay? Like, just stop what you're doing, text your homegirl, text your homeboy, and share this live with 3 people because it is going to be valuable. So, quickly, I'll introduce myself. My name is Melissa Fleury, and I'm an executive coach. I am the lead coach of the Branded Career, where we help organizations really retain their top talent. And we also assist professionals with capitalizing on their gifts so that they can land leadership roles with influence and ownership. So, today's topic, building 9 to 5 with your wealth. Now, I know that there is a lot of conflicting information out there in regards to personal finance, how to manage your wealth, how to build wealth, and all of these things. So much so that many of us are really, really overwhelmed to the point that we don't do anything. And so this live actually came to mind because I'm currently reading a book called The Psychology of Money. And I'll be honest with you, I have not read the entire book. However, I am a couple pages and maybe the first chapter in, and I absolutely love the book. So the book was a recommendation to me, and the premise of the book actually is to talk about the behaviors of money, right, rather than talk about the tactics of personal finance. So I know that a lot of my followers are pretty educated, right? So you know all of like the right things to do. You know that you need to save your money, you know that you need to stop spending, you know that you need to, put in for retirement and all of these other things, right? However, if you talk to the average American, and especially if you talk to the average Black professional, a lot of us don't even have those things in place. A large majority of people are still living paycheck to paycheck and still trying to figure out their finances. And in all honesty, a lot of it is miseducation, and a good majority of it is really just bad habits. And so, what got me thinking about this live, and honestly, what just got me thinking about my finances, is this book. And I started to think about what do I want or what do I desire my finances to look like for the next decade. And I know you're probably thinking that a decade is probably a large, time off in a way. But when I think about the fact that 1990s is over, the 2000s is over, the 2010s era is over, and I can like vividly remember those eras, right? Those decades in time. And so to think about how quickly those times have passed, I can only imagine that this 2020s era is only going to move as quickly as the previous eras did. And so I don't want to do myself the disservice of not having not only a plan in place, but also following in on the plan and following each and every step, and also planning for the fact that some steps just might not happen. I know for a lot of us, when you're getting into investing and financial planning, a lot of 2019, 2018 was an era that a lot of us made a lot of money, even 2020. But now that you're considering inflation and a lot of impending talks of another recession, we need to be able to manage our money better and also be very intentional about what we desire in these upcoming years. And so, the first thing that I really want to talk about is just this term called generational wealth or legacy building. And it's been a term that's been a buzzword. It's been floating around for a couple years. I know that for me, getting out of college or even while in college, everyone was talking about, when I get my first job, I'm going to be building wealth out here. I'm going to do all of this stuff, right? And it sounds really sexy, right? It sounds, really good. It makes us feel good, right? So, like, we're on Instagram or we're on Twitter and we're liking and sharing all these tweets about breaking generational curses, and we're sharing these things about how I'm going to be the first millionaire to do all of these things. But truth be told, many of us are not practicing the daily habits that we need in order to even get to that place. And so I first wanted to think about, how can we build, not only build wealth, but also how can we preserve it for future generations? And many of us are thinking about the building part, but we're not thinking about the preserving part. And I say that because a lot of us aren't even preserving our current income right now. And so, if you do not know how to steward and manage over your income right now, it's going to be hard to build upon that and passing it on to the next generation. And so, when I was thinking about what does wealth really mean, I just, took a simple step and I just looked it up. I Googled it, right? And so, wealth is defined as an abundance of valuable possessions or money. It's defined as the state of being rich with material prosperity, or it's defined as plentiful supplies of a particular resource. And so, as I was thinking about building wealth, I find that, okay, wealth is the abundance of valuable possessions. And it got me into thinking about, okay, how are we jumping ahead of ourselves and talking about building wealth when many of us don't even understand what it means to actually have money and what money is? And so, my goal today during this live is to really lay out to you how you can actually use your 9 to 5 to build the wealth and the income that you desire. And so, first, let me just say, disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. And if you do not have a financial advisor, go ahead and get you one if you have the resources to do that. And number two, I'm really just sharing from my own research. I'm sharing from my own personal experiences because I've taken a lot of L's, y'all, okay? And I want to make sure that if you are in a position where you can create forward momentum, that you don't put any hurdles in your way unconsciously. And so, like I said early in this live, if you are joining this live, go ahead and drop where you're tuning in from, and also share this live with 3 people. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let me put it in the frame. 1, 2, 3. All right. So number one, we often forget that our jobs are the biggest source of income, and it's really going to be the path to accomplishing our financial goals. So, in order to use our income, and even before we start using our income, we need to actually stop building wealth and first grasp the concept of what money is. All right? I know I said it. Stop building wealth and grasp the concept of what money truly is. And so I know that it sounds crazy, but I find that, and you let me know, has this happened to you? You have all these grand ideas about how you're going to build wealth, right? You're going to invest in the stock market, you're going to buy Bitcoin, then you're going to invest in real estate, and then you're going to buy some cattle. And so let me tell y'all about cattle. Um, I guess I'm a city girl. I'm from New York. I mean, I'm from Long Island and everything. And just the thought that cattle is actually an asset really tickled me because I've never really seen a cow and all of that other stuff until I moved to like Texas in the South. But yes, you're going to invest in in appreciating assets, right? But when you get online and you start looking at the cost of what these things are valued at, you start to think like, wow, I don't know if I can do that, right? You look at Amazon stock. I'm not sure what it's currently trading at, but I remember at one point I said to myself like, oh, I'm going to buy some stock in Amazon, and then that quickly deflated my dreams when I found out Amazon stock was 4 figures, right? And so one stock. And so thinking of these things, it really discouraged me a bit. But over the years of being a business owner and having to really allocate my resources, I started to understand that money needs to be viewed for what it is. And money is simply a tool, right? Because many of us think that the actual value of money is in the paper itself. And that is not true. Now, the actual value, and I have this written down, I don't want to say this wrong. The value of money is not in the paper itself, but it's in its purchasing power, right? And so if you start to view that accumulating money is not about just having the actual paper or popping the rubber bands off of it, but looking at it as the tool that you'll use to actually buy the stock, to buy the real estate, to buy whatever it is, or pay down your debt, which we'll get into, then you'll stop having an emotional attachment to money the way that many of us have, right? So many of us are defining our value and our worth by how much money we have in the bank, right? Or how much money we're actually earning in our salary. And all of these things, if we think about just money being the tool, it's simply just a resource. It is not a metric for who you are. It is not a metric for what you can contribute. It is simply just something that you use to purchase another thing, right? In the olden times, or as my as my niece would say, in the ancient times, right? Instead of actually having money or currency, people would barter with each other, whether that be providing another product for a service or providing a service for a product, right? That was their exchange. But using the actual dollar became the medium at which everyone could use the same currency in order to purchase the same things, right? It's just to still purchase the service or to purchase the product, right? And so it's really crucial that you think of money as a tool and you start to think about building wealth or even getting rich first. Let me pause here, put a pin on this one, right? Because I find that a lot of us, or a lot of the narrative has been shunning people that are rich, right? Oh, I don't want to be rich. I want to be wealthy, right? And that sounds cool. But to be quite honest, in order to be wealthy, you first need to get rich, right? And getting rich means accumulating the assets. And then being wealthy means preserving and building on the assets that you've already accumulated, right? And so your mindset about what money is and how you perceive money is going to be so important in order for you to run this marathon. And I call it a marathon because a lot of us are looking to make quick money. A lot of us are looking for that get rich quick. In our lifetime, if you're a millennial, you've seen the surge in cryptocurrency, and many of us have been thinking like, "Dang, I wish I would have invested $20 in 2011, or whatever the price of a Bitcoin is." And even with this drop, you're still making a profit if you invested early. And so you don't want to think about those peaks of building wealth and getting rich, but more so you want to create something that is sustainable for you. And the reason that I say that is because if you build something that is sustainable, then you won't be prone to this whole stop and start thing that many of us do, right? We start saving money, we start paying down debt, but then we get frustrated and we're like, "Bump it, I deserve to live this life right now, YOLO," right? And that really disturbs the growth of your money. And if you're into investing, you understand that the most valuable asset in investing and in making the most amount of money is time and keeping your money in the market or whatever vehicle that you're using. And so I want you to really think about, okay, the next question when it comes to like the mindset of money and what it is that you desire to do is defining what is enough for you now, then defining what's enough for you for your lifetime, and then creating a plan to actually preserve that and pass that along. So many of us don't even have a baseline of what it costs to be us. And I remember doing this exercise a couple years ago and trying to understand what are my expenses, not only my current expenses, but what are my future expenses, right? Or my future desired expenses. And you might be thinking like, why would you want future desired expenses? Because thinking logically about what it is that I want next, if I want to purchase a home, that's more than likely going to be an expense. If I want to, I don't know, hire help, hire a chef, or hire whatever, or buy a car if I don't have a car, those are future expenses. And so when you start planning for these things right now and thinking about how that's a part of your desired lifestyle, then you need to create the plan around, okay, where is the gap, right? Where is the gap? Do I need to actually cut some of these expenses that I don't need right now? Or do I need to increase my money? Which we'll talk about in a little bit more. And so the next thing, when considering your mindset around money, you also want to define what is important to you. And I think this is the most important thing that really relates to building wealth and thinking about just generationally, right? And so when you're thinking about what's important to you, a couple things that I have written down here is time important to you, independence, assets, prestige, because for some people, prestige is a value and what's important to them is giving something that is important to you as far as like your charitable giving, your philanthropic efforts that you want to partake in the future, as well as I have down here debt pay down. And so in the book, one of the things that the author, his name is Morgan Housel, we'll go with Housel for right now. Morgan Housel writes down is that money's greatest intrinsic value, and this can't be overstated, is its ability to give you control over your time. And something that I say time and time again, no pun intended, but something that I say time and time again is that I want to control my time, right? And so many of you may be saying, is like, if you work a 9 to 5, you don't control your time. Corporate America controls your time. Yes, I understand that. However, if on the back end you are building your exit plan, right? So building your business, paying down your debt, increasing your side hustles to increase your income, then you are buying you are purchasing your time back because you no longer depend on that one source of income. But all of that is not possible unless you're managing your primary source of income. Another thing that Morgan states is independence to me doesn't mean that you'll stop working, but it actually means you'll only do the work that you like with people you like at the times you want for as long as you want. And I don't know about you, but a lot of that is true for me, because with controlling my time means I also get to control my work. And so if these are the things that you're desiring out of your life, understanding you need to understand that having a good understanding of money is going to be key to your success so that you can build a financial foundation in order to do those things. And so drop in the comments and let me know if any of this is resonating with you. I'm hoping that you're already thinking about your money mindset, the tools that you already have in a bank account, because we're not going to call it money anymore. We're going to call it a tool. And then hopefully that you'll be able to create a plan after this live is over. And also, the other thing that I'm thinking is a lot of ideas were coming to my mind as I was drafting this live. But I definitely think there's probably going to be a part 2 and part 3 because you want to get into those more advanced techniques. And I'll probably have a guest speaker on to walk you through those things of what you can do with your 9 to 5 income. So the second thing that we need to consider is taking a realistic look at our expenses. And so I had a financial advisor look through my expenses, and lo and behold, I found out I had a spending problem, right? It's a little embarrassing. I mean, I'm someone that prides myself in managing my money well, which I still do. However, there was room for me to really take advantage more of debt pay down, as well as just using that money towards investment vehicles that I wasn't taking advantage of because I was spending with my Amazon Prime account, and I was also spending money at my favorite bakery. And so I'm just realizing that many of us have not taken a good look at our expenses. And even if you are taking a look at your expenses, sometimes it is worth the time and the money to have somebody else look into your expenses for you, right? Because what might seem normal for you and average for you may be a bit high, or you might be overlooking things that you can possibly cut and create opportunity for you to do something else with that money. So one of the questions that you want to ask yourself is, do you have a spending problem, right? And this can apply to a lot of my high six-figure earners because you do finally have the excess cash. But one of the things that you need to keep in mind is that making more money does not mean that you're able to keep more money. And don't be surprised that a lot of six-figure earners are still living paycheck to paycheck. Because what happens is that as a lot of people decide to make more money or earn more money and gain that opportunity, their lifestyle and expenses creeps up with that income. And so what happens is that you're bringing the same habits that you had from when you were earning 50, 60, $70,000 now into this new income earning tax bracket, right? And so be very conscious of your expenses. Be conscious of what you are dictating as a need and as a want. Be very conscious of of just spending too much money, because it's very easy nowadays, especially with the ads and the social media. A lot of the marketing is geared towards making our wants and desires feel like needs. And so we need to have a good firm foundation on what it is that we have that we desire for our long-term plan. The other thing that I want you to be really conscious of, and I heard this actually on a podcast, is understand the cost of debt. And so whether this be your credit card, your mortgage, your car loan, or any type of debt or financing that you take out against any of your collateral, there is a cost. And most of the only costs that many of us are focused on are usually the interest rates and the fees associated with taking out that debt. However, this person said on their podcast, Debt leverages future finances and time to pay for short-term desires. Excuse me. And so when I heard that, I think many of us know this, but we kind of need to hear it in different ways. And so I'll say this again. Debt leverages future finances and time to pay for short-term desires. And so as you're purchasing that bag, as you're financing that vacation, as you're, I don't know, buying whatever it is that you set in your mind that it is a need, leveraging your future time, which means that you have to work more hours to pay off that debt, and you're leveraging your finances, your future finances. So the money that you earn with that future time, you're now using that to pay off the current debt. And I call it a short-term desire because a lot of us, if we're very honest with ourselves, and that's the other thing about personal finances, it needs to be personal. The things that we buy really only satisfy us in the moment of purchase. When you bought the bag, it felt good when they wrapped it up and put it in that pretty box and put the bows on it. And it might have felt good the first time you wore the bag, but more than likely, it is just the bag and it's going to sit in your closet. When you went on vacation, and this is different for everybody, but when you went on vacation, you planned a vacation, you went on vacation for 3 days, now you even forgot that you went on vacation because now you're back at work stressed to pay off that vacation. It is a short-term desire. And so I'm not saying that these things are necessarily bad, but I am saying we need to be conscious of how we're paying for these things and whether or not we can delay the gratification for a while until we're in a very secure financial situation. And so the last thing when it comes to building wealth, and I'm definitely going to call this a part one because there's many things that we need to touch on with this, is that you need to increase your expenses. And so this is something that I'm actually going to stress over the expenses, right? Definitely cut your expenses, right? But I think a lot of the personal finance rules or tactics or advice has really been geared on cutting expenses. And to be quite honest, a lot of us can cut but so much before we're living in a cardboard box. Now, if that's what you choose to do in order to be dramatic and to cut your debt and put yourself in a better net worth situation, then that's fine. But being realistic about our expenses or even our financial situation, I find that a lot of people just need to earn more money, right? And we're not told that. We're told to continue to deprive ourselves. We're told to continue to cut our expenses, but we're not told to actually use our current assets, our current skills in order to generate more income. And so the first thing, and also I wanted to say, just think about this logically, right? Because one of the things I read is like, oh, you got to cut your coffee, right? You're spending $5 on coffee a day. And so I did the math and I was like, all right, if I spend $5 on coffee every day, right? So 5 times 3, 365, that comes out to be 1875, right? Which is significant, right? So I could use basically, round it up. Well, I can use $1,900 towards paying off debt, towards putting it somewhere or whatnot. But when I think about the average debt of most millennials, and specifically student loan debt, because this brought me down this research rabbit hole, I found that the average federal, right, just federal, the average federal student loan debt is about 36K. Then the average private loan debt of most Americans is $55,000. And so I went even further into this and I found that the average black, right, us people, right? So the average black degree holder averages 52,000 in student loan debt. And the other statistic that really got me was that over 50% reported that their net worth is less than what they owe in student loans, right? And so if they owe $52,000, then their net worth is probably negative whatever, right? Whatever is more than 52,000 in the negative. So maybe they're negative $60,000, $70,000, right? And so all of that is, it's really disheartening. And I know for me, coming out of school, looking at my student loan debt, I remember thinking to myself, how can I ever pay this off? I'm going to be paying this off for the rest of my life. Like, it literally feels like balls and chains when someone's calling you for payment, right? And so debt is something that we need to manage as a community. And one of the things that, of course, would help is that first, not getting into debt in the first place. And so finding other financing terms when it comes to our education, or even rethinking what education looks like for us. But then the second thing is that we just need to make more money. And that means that we need to make smarter decisions when it comes to what are we studying in school, and if we need to go to school at all. And then number two, we need to be very aggressive about what our paychecks look like. And so, one of the things that I find is that when it comes to this whole wealth building game, is that I find that a lot of people quote, the average millionaire has seven streams of income. And so, when people think about that, they're thinking about stocks and real estate, crypto, business, land, and all that other stuff, right? And so, one thing as a business owner, which bleeds into my 9 to 5 and my professional career, is that how can I maximize one income stream into seven, right? And so instead of trying to build seven different things, I'm going to maximize on one and maybe break that out into seven different places, if that makes sense. And so I'm just saying, and so taking that concept, right? It is easier for you to max out on one income stream than it is for you to create a completely different income stream. And so what I find is that a lot of us have a 9 to 5, right? And so then we'll go ahead and we'll get a second job, right? We'll have a 9 to 5, and then we decide, okay, I'm just going to throw my money into the real estate market. I'm going to throw my money into stocks, and that's going to make me a millionaire overnight, right? I'm going to be building generational wealth. And truth be told, it's not happening. Because if you're disturbing the growth of money, as we talked about, just having this marathon mindset, and then you're also pocketing little things here and there, then the growth, you're not going to be able to maximize the growth the way that you want to. And so I when I'm talking to my clients, because as many of you know, I'm a career coach. I help people with landing leadership roles and even increasing their income, but really helping people increase their income, is that many of us are currently underpaid in our current role, right? So instead of hopping out to go get a second job, we're completely neglecting the fact that we probably have 10 to 30% income potential in our current role, right? You getting a second job, that means that's more time, more energy that you're exerting when you could be making more money doing exactly what it is that you're doing. And I suggest two options when it comes to increasing your income. The first thing I think is very obvious. If you're in a place that's stagnant, you won't be able to gain more money. Then you're in a position where you need to leave your current company so that you can therefore command a higher salary. Or the second thing that you can do is actually negotiate your salary with your current employer. And I want to actually talk about that latter option, just because I think that's many of you that are watching this live or watching the replay, and that if you decide to negotiate your salary, now is the right time to negotiate your salary and ask for more money with your current employer. So you actually have two things that are working in your favor. The first thing is inflation, right? And we'll be talking about inflation in the salary negotiation class and how to really intertwine that into your ask. And then the second thing is that you have this big, well, they call it the great resignation, but this talent gap, right? And so there is a cost for actually losing employees. And a lot of companies are having a very hard time filling in the talent gap. And that's for many reasons, and another live that we could touch on that. And so your ability, and I wrote this down, and write this down if you're currently watching this live, but you must be able to articulate your contribution in such a way that the thought of losing your talent is considered more expensive than keeping you. So if you are in a place where you are negotiating your salary, you need to understand the value that you contribute to your employer. I'll say it again. You must be able to contribute your contribution in such a way that the thought of losing your talent is considered more expensive than keeping you. Your employer will give you more money if they feel as if, one, that you're valuable, but two, that it's just simply expensive. It's too expensive to lose you. But the only way that will happen is if you know the value that you contribute and you know the skills that you have, and you got to be able to capitalize on that. And so if you are somebody that needs help in negotiating your salary, I got you. So I am hosting my salary negotiation masterclass. I'm hosting it Thursday, June 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Spots are limited, and the price is also a special price, and it's going to go up. I'm actually not playing with y'all, right? I know that there are some gimmicks out here about prices going up, but no, the price is actually up. And so, if you are interested in attending the salary negotiation class and you want to be able to articulate your value, understand the hurdles of negotiating your salary, and really having clear communication, then you do not want to miss out on this. I host this salary negotiation class, I think, at this point about once a year. And every year, the reviews are stellar. And also, this is the same tactics that I teach my Career Catalyst students. And they've been able to get not only 20 to 30% increases, but $20,000 to $30,000, and some have even doubled their salary in their current companies. So if this is you and you're interested, go ahead and click the link in my bio. I'll also drop the link to the salary negotiation class in the comments and register today. Remember, these prices are limited and they're going up. And so I didn't know I was going to speak for that long. Wow. Okay, so I don't want to keep you for too long, but just to recap on this part one series of building wealth with your 9 to 5. First, you really want to manage your mindset and really understand what money is. Second, you want to take a realistic look at your expenses. And then third, you want to increase your income by negotiating your salary with your current employer. And so if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'll see if there are questions and stay on here for a little bit. I see something. Oh, hi. How you doing, Gino? And so, okay. So once again, the salary negotiation masterclass is open for registration. It's Thursday, June 30th. If you're unable to make that date, the replay will be available to registered attendees. Like I said, you are going to learn a lot. It's going to be actionable, and you will be able to get the money that you want. And so with that, thank you all for your time. Go ahead and share this live, like this live if it's been valuable to you. If you aren't connected to me on social media, whether that be Facebook or LinkedIn, go ahead and connect with me. My financial advisor. Okay, I will actually go ahead and tag them in this post. And if you're interested in working with them, definitely reach out. I believe he has a couple slots open. His financial group is called Jacques M. Joseph Financial. Really great to work with and really will set you on a path to financial success. All right, guys, have a good day.